From the nation's federal capital territory, every week we try to bring to your living rooms those events and issues, and indeed those characters that have formed the thoughts of many in the outgoing week. This is ABUJA Dispatch, and my name is ABUJA Arogbodo. Let's start off with those stories that made up our news headlines in the outgoing week.
The federal government has officially commenced the Phase 2 COVID-19 vaccination exercise in Abuja. The chairman, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, while flagging off the exercise at the Federal Medical Center in Abuja, said the only hope out of COVID-19 pandemic for now is through vaccination, assuring that the new Moderna vaccines are safe and efficacious. He said the federal government will continue to monitor with concern the increasing trend of COVID-19 cases in several countries, with special focus on those with high incidence rate and widespread prevalence or variants of concern. Boss Mustafa reiterated that government is committed to ensuring that Nigerians have unfettered access to COVID-19 vaccines, as the country will continue to invest in and access safe and effective vaccines. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday presided over a crucial security meeting with all the nation's security chiefs and relevant cabinet ministers in attendance. The meeting was summoned to critically analyze the prevailing challenges of security bedeviling the country with a view to charting the best way forward. The meeting further discussed successes being achieved in the renewed onslaught against terrorism, insurgency, as well as the deadly activities of bandits across the country. The security implications of the reported mass surrender of Boko Haram insurgents and members of their families in the northeast was also on the front burner. The House of Representatives has commenced hearing in preparation for the 2020 appropriation bill. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, explained that the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework Fiscal Strategy Paper (MTEF FSP) will have a direct impact on the content of the appropriation bill, as well as on the lawmakers' ability to deliver on the promises of governance and development that has been made to the Nigerian people. Speaker Gbajabiamila, who was represented by the House Leader Al-Hassan Doguwa, said the COVID-19 pandemic has a significant disruptive effect on the global economy. The Federal Executive Council has approved the construction of Wachakal Airport in Yobe State at the contract sum of 6.284 billion naira. Minister of Aviation said this is part of the government's drive to develop the aviation sector and ensure connectivity within the region and also attend to the various needs of civilization. This is expected to answer the questions as to the growth and development of civilization and also to show preparedness for emergencies and military operation and other security agencies. The Federal Executive Council has also approved the award of contract for the deployment of sniffer dogs canines in airports in Lagos and Abuja. The dogs, among other things, are to help in detection of bombs, drugs, currency prohibited items, explosives in line with the requirement of International Civil Aviation Organization, standard recommended practices, and also local laws in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari has commenced the implementation of the newly signed Petroleum Industry Act (PIA) by approving a steering committee to oversee the process. The steering committee is headed by the Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva. The primary responsibility of the steering committee shall be to guide the effective and timely implementation of the PIA in the course of transition to the petroleum industry envisaged in the reform program and ensure that the new institutions created have the full capability to deliver on their mandate under the new legislation. The committee has 12 months duration for the assignment and periodic updates will be given to Mr. President.
Welcome back. Construction and maintenance of bridges across the country is gradually becoming a new economy not known to exist in the system before now. Through massive rehabilitation and maintenance of 37 bridges across the country at present, the federal government seems to have embarked on a program of replacement, expansion, and redevelopment of these public utilities with the attendant economic change. This is our focus this week on Dateline. Stay with us.
Bridges are constructed for the purpose of providing passage over obstacles, usually something that is otherwise difficult or impossible to cross. A bridge, wherever it is found, provides support to the critical service of transporting people and goods, either by road or by rail. Towing in the path of poor state of roads in the country are also the state of bridges. And as the federal government is making efforts at fixing roads and the rails to achieve a seamless transport system in Nigeria, so are the bridges given priority for overhaul.
As concrete is, it expands and contracts. So you need to allow some joints where it can breathe. If you don't, it will crush and crumble. So you allow what we call expansion joint intermittently on the bridge. So the expansion joint also are special material that are put there to allow this movement of expansion and contraction of concrete. So it's the combination of all this that makes the bridge stands. So due to wear and tear and repetitive loading and weathering, you need to be replacing the expansion joint from time to time and the bearings under the bridge between the horizontal members and the piers. So these are things that we inspect from time to time and take inventory and ensure that they are being corrected from time to time.
We have
The lack of maintenance culture in Nigeria is caused by political factors, where political administrators fail to maintain existing infrastructure built by previous administrations. It is also a fact that the country does not have an existent working policy and legislation on maintenance, a lack of enlightenment by the populace on the need for maintenance. In line with a promise made in its first term in office, the minister recently embarked on an on-the-spot inspection of the major bridge construction sites and reiterated the resolve of government to improve the state of the country's bridges, revealing that the federal government is now constructing, repairing, and rehabilitating a total of 40 major bridges across the country. The 1.8 kilometers local Weto Bridge, being constructed at the cost of 51 billion naira, is 97.37% completed.
What this bridge does actually is that it provides a shorter route, cutting off about 4 to 5 hours. But now you have a bifurcation through Oweto to Nasarawa. The Emir will tell you how many of his community members are benefiting from this just by selling laterite, that red soil. Then of course there's diesel, there's cement, there's aggregate, there's sand, and so on going on. This is what infrastructure does, the unseen work that infrastructure does, that the president is doing by redistributing wealth just by creating such a project.
The 11.8 kilometer Third Mainland Bridge is the longest of the 3 road bridges crossing the Lagos Lagoon, connecting the commercial district of Lagos Island to the mainland section of the city. The rehabilitation of the bridge became imperative due to failing and damaged portions. The second Niger Bridge construction is 1.6 kilometers long and furnished with other ancillary infrastructure, including the 10.3 kilometer highway, a toll station that is intended to ease traffic congestion and will span from Asaba to Zubulu and Ogbaru areas. Upon completion, it will also facilitate vibrant commercial exchanges, especially in the host southeast region of Nigeria.
As the project manager said to us, this is nearly completed now. It's just about 75 meters, and you have full completion on this axis, and they will connect the remaining part there very soon. And he assures us, I think,
Yes.
that by February next year, the entire length of the bridge will be fully connected. So you can walk from Asaba to the Onitsha end. What will just be left now is finishing works.
Meanwhile, the public has been assured that all roads affected by flash floods will receive required attention. After receiving an interim report of on-the-spot assessment of the ABUJA-Lokoja flash flood and the bridge in Gwaram local government area of Jigawa State, the Federal Minister of Works and Housing expressed readiness to provide technical support to states in all the roads and bridges construction activities.
The people who actually benefit on the site, many of whom we will never meet, but some of whom I have met and whose experiences and stories to me just tell me that we are on the right track.
The benefits of a bridge cuts across socio-economic and political values, both to the immediate environment where it is located and distant regions and places which derive their links from its existence. The plans of the federal government regarding the poor state of the bridges starting now is to have a 3-year plan affecting over 50 bridges across the country for maintenance, repairs, and restoration.
Thanks for staying with us. The world's population is expected to increase by 2 billion people in the next 30 years, and young people are on the front lines of the struggle to build a better future for all. Nigeria joined the rest of the world a few days ago to mark the International Day of the Youth. On Split Views this week, we take on a social commentator and public affairs analyst, Comrade Fifen Festus, on the need for an inclusive support mechanism for the Nigerian youth. Join us again. Welcome to the Split Views segment of our program, Abuja Dispatch. And on Split Views tonight, we take on a public affairs analyst and social commentator based in Abuja, Mr. Fifen Festus. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Youths are generally, expected to serve as a tool of creating a smooth developmental atmosphere in order to set the entryway to national growth and development. How effective or otherwise do you think the Nigerian youths have fared in this direction?
Thank you very much for this question, and places where I've had opportunity to speak, I always say this, and the thing is, you don't give what you don't have. Over time, there has been this lacuna in the development of the average Nigerian youth. We grow accidentally and do things accidentally. That deliberate and concentrated efforts to mentor you, either by your parents or by your environment, is missing. The desire to acquire things, which you will not blame anybody, everybody wants to live that good life. The desire to really acquire things has taken that role of mentorship from our parents and our elders. So the youth per se is just somebody that is just growing. You do everything as it is coming, and you try to do it on your own. If you fail, you try to do it again. And if you are committed enough, you succeed. So if you want to succeed, but the truth is that once there is no mentoring process, you cannot get a youth that is contributing to national development. That is just as it is today. Even politicians and leaders that mostly carry the youth along, they carry them along because there is a lacuna in their life they want you to fit into. not because they want you to take over from them, not because they want you to do anything that will succeed them. They just want to use you to satisfy a need at a particular time, and they move, and most of them toggery and things that are not very, very good. So if that question that you ask is a good one, you cannot give what you don't have. The youths are not being mentored, so they cannot be actively involved. Whatever they do now that you see that's part of national development is what I can refer to here as an accidental discharge. If it's favorable, we take it. If it's not favorable, we bear the consequences.
Thank you very much, sir. One area that the Nigerian youth have always clamored is that they must be given necessary equal opportunities across board. I mean, equal opportunities that will not differentiate the youth from the rich homes from the poor ones. Now, as it were, how will you describe the interplay between these two sectors of the Nigerian youth? Because you find out that even when they were talking about the not too young to run, you find out that the proponents of this bill, they were really children of the rich. Children of the political class. Now, how will those ones from the poor homes or from the poor backgrounds really merge with those ones from the upper class?
Now, the oppressor wants the status quo to remain. The oppressor does not want to give you chance. Like I said in the previous question, that because we don't have mentorship, the youth of today, obviously, by United Nations rating, I'm no longer a youth, but by Nigerian rating, I'm still a child. I'm not even a youth yet, because you have people that are in their 60s also being regarded as youth. But as it were today, the youth of today are now kind of used to, I cannot be anything until somebody hands it over to me. It's a global village, it's a global world. Nobody will give you anything. You have to fight for it. You have to make moves for it. If you look at those people that are making wave in the polity of Nigeria today, nobody handed anything to them. There are some people that you mentioned their names. They decided to carve out a niche for themselves, and they are doing it. So the youth of today must wake up to this responsibility of nobody will give it to me. I must work for it. I must make myself different so that I can be reckoned with. Because the truth is that politician does not want his own child to suffer. He will also try to raise his own children. And because there is an enabling environment from the father, the son will quickly climb. But you, like what my father told me before he died, he said, for you to be as them, you must be twice as good as them. That means for you to measure up with the son of a rich politician or an influential politician, you must be twice as good as he is before anybody will reckon with you. And even with that, they might not even reckon with you. So the youth of Nigeria, go there and take it. Nobody will give it to you.
Now, in Nigeria today, the youth almost, do not have a voice in the scheme of things, because unemployment, lack of opportunities, faulty educational system, dwindling economic fortunes, and all that, are really responsible for the suppression of the voice of the Nigerian youth. Now, as it is now, there is this growing recognition of the need to strengthen policies and investments involving the youth. How successful do you think the Nigerian government has really, gone in this area?
Okay, the Nigerian youth does not want to develop the Nigerian youth. That is why we are here. Because you also realize that these rich men... No. Let's leave the government aside. Okay. The government played a dangerous role by killing or deliberately destroying the middle class. When you and I were growing up, there was middle class in this country. You have the high class, you have the middle class, and you have the lower class. Now, the middle class has been destroyed. It's either you are up or you are down. Now, the government somehow made policies that destroyed the middle class by making sure that today it is only government employment. I'm very sure when you started working, a few of your friends would laugh at you that, wow, you are vibrant, why would you be working for the government? But today you see people in private sector coming to work for the government because there are some corrosive, let me use the word, corrosive policies that have destroyed businesses, that have destroyed industries. So the youths can no longer come out of school. Technical colleges were there in those days where you can come out of school, you create, you fabricate, and you do things on your own. But those are no longer there. Those were destroyed by the policy of government. But government aside, the youth of Nigeria does not want the youth of Nigeria to succeed. If you give a youth an opportunity, you still see him, instead of using people like him to get things done, he still defers to the old politicians calling them father, ose, and what kind of aglagba or any name that they call in your part of Nigeria. So the youth does not believe in the youth. The youth still wants to work with the old and influential rich politician that will give them another opportunity to come and appear as a nominee or an appointee of government in another level. That is why we are in this level. So the enabling environment is not being created. Government has made a mistake by killing middle class, by bringing obnoxious policies. Every agency of government now is teetering towards revenue generation. So the youth as a body, we must have to deliberately tell ourselves, if we must move forward, we must do it in such a way that we have people of like minds that we can flow with.
Now, generally it is believed that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. In the Nigerian context, how true is this expression? Or we are just out of it?
For me, and this is my opinion, I don't want to generalize, I think the leadership recruitment process in this country is so faulty that the youths that I said earlier are not being mentored, cannot step into it. If you give positions to the youth, they mess it up. The reason is that prerequisite knowledge and leadership skill to carry others along, to shift from this paradigm, this acquire everything. You see, somebody stealing money he doesn't need is because the value system of Nigeria as it were, this is my opinion too, have so much been destroyed that money is now speaking over capabilities and abilities and influence. So the youth of tomorrow, it depends on who is counting the tomorrow. But if it is the universal tomorrow that we all know, like you talked about when you started, the youth of Nigeria as it were, I think 70% cannot be the leaders of tomorrow. One is because, this is because there's no mentoring for them to be able to do anything. The leaders are not handing over to them. If the old banana refuses to die, the young will not grow. So the thing is, the old bananas are still playing the game. People that were ministers in the 70s are still ministers, and if they give them the slot, they now give to their children. So so the remaining 30% are not interested in politics. They are doing their own thing. They are excelling in their own area. So the outlook of politics as it were is a major problem. And if politics is the ways for us to get leaders of tomorrow, the youth of Nigeria are not ready.
Now, to wrap it up, the Nigerian youth, what is the hope? What's your last word?
There should be deliberate and sustained efforts to mentor the youth into leadership deliberately. The government should invest so much money in training and retraining the workforce. We still have youths that are working for the government today. But you realize that a training that is meant for it, maybe a level 6, level 7 officer, a director is going for that training because there are extra codes or there are some things that are attached to it. Now, the government should look away from people that are already made, invest in the younger generation, and the old ones must be ready to take a bow. If you are retired by 60 from civil service, I'm not saying you should be retired from politics at 60 or 65, but at 60 or 65, you should have 3, 4, 5 people that people can point to and say, these are the people that you have made. And let those ones also have those that they have made. Bring them up in such a way that they'll be able to take over from you in a seamless way, not doing it in such a way that if I live here, nothing will work, and you make it happen that nothing will really work by holding information from anybody. So the government should formulate policies that will make succession plans clear so that whoever is going, you have even agencies these days that people will retire, they have been able to sign what I refer to, I'm sorry to use this word, demonic agreements within them that after you leave, they now employ you again as a consultant. You will now come and work for another 4 or 5 years. Meanwhile, the position you are holding, a youth, somebody younger than you, is waiting to enter that place, but that person cannot enter because you have, with your own age mate, have made it difficult for people to succeed you. So policymakers should do everything possible to make sure that there is a succession plan and there is training in that regard so that everybody will learn how to do that which is set out for them to do, and the nation will move forward.
Mr. Fifen Festus is a social commentator based in Abuja. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It's my pleasure to be here.
It is evident that a lot of successes have been recorded. Large numbers of people are surrendering in the Northeast as a consequence of the relentless efforts of the armed forces. So the president was briefed. The president is quite happy that there's been tremendous success, especially with the advent of the new service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police, and he's also made it very, very clear that he's not ready to exit government as a failure. He's not going to tolerate that. He's made changes and is ready to make further changes if he's not satisfied. He's completely determined to ensure that there's a turnaround in the fortunes in the theater of operations. We also address the issue of the prevailing situation, which is widespread, issues of hunger. The president is not oblivious to the pains of the people, and is working with the vice president and other members of council. Is going to employ the relevant ministries, departments and agencies of government to address this issue. As far as it's concerned, it's also an emergency situation. The people should not be left to wallow in hunger and in despair.
That is how far time can permit us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. For further information, comments, and suggestions, you can reach us out on any of our various social media platforms. Thank you for sharing your precious moment with us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. A week from now, we'll bring you another refreshing package. Same time, same station. Adegboyega Arogoda is my name. Have a good night.